Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Claytano. Thank you so much for tuning in as always, and we're back with another Dungeon Hunter Champions video. Alright, today we're going to be going over the Monkey King family, alright? Not just one, but all of them, and I'm going to be teaching you guys how to gear them, where to use them, and they're kind of, honestly, they're kind of like the laughing stock of the community right now, but honestly, I don't think they're really all that bad, okay? At first, I was like, okay, these are like horrible units, but they have a place, and that's what we're gonna talk about today, all right? Now, if you haven't seen the other ones, I've gone through all the other nat 5s that are above the Monkey King, and I'm gonna continue down the list until we hit every single unit in the game. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click on that subscribe button because those videos are coming out very soon, all right? So let's start off here with Sun Wukong, the Fire Monkey King, all right? And this is the one that you get for free by completing stage 710 on the legendary board. And I believe I've come out with a video on how to beat that, but basically like get some friends and just go through it. It's really, really easy if you just have some friends, okay? So as far as the skill set, okay, much like every other champion in the game, the first basic ability is Nimbus Strike, and it's pretty much the same throughout the entire family of Monkey Kings, okay? Strikes an enemy with his staff. Whenever he uses another skill, he becomes empowered, causing him to deal additional damage and leap to his target on his next attack. So if he uses overhead flip, he'll leap to him. If he uses monkey tricks, he'll leap to him. If he uses tag team, he'll leap to them. And it's kind of like the Snake Lady ongoing damage ability, where if they use an ability, then activates it. Okay, now the first skill here, overhead flip. Flips the target enemy over his head with his staff, deals damage, and lowers the defense. So it just like down. And honestly, it's not a bad skill. It's quite useful in Arena, let me tell you guys. It's quite useful in Arena. Also very useful in 5v5 PvP. As you can see, this is the 5v5 competitor for the Monkey King family, which is kind of nice because you get this unit for free. And like, I would say the strategy is once they get a little too close to your tower, just flip, throw them back there, they're dead. It's really actually kind of OP if you use it correctly. Now his monkey tricks, all right, leaps to a location and balances on his staff, becoming invulnerable and untargetable for a few seconds before hopping off. When he falls, raises attack and damages nearby enemies with his staff. So it raises his attack, and the nice thing about it is you could jump on it. It's kind of like Fizz from League of Legends, if there's anybody out there that knows who Fizz is, and can be cast while balancing to leap in a new direction, dealing damage in a line instead. So it's really nice actually, because if you run in, you throw an ability down, say like you use tag team, you run in there, you can tower dive with this, you flip him back out of the tower, you jump on your pole so that way you don't get hit by the tower, and then you fall on him and kill him. You guys can combo it pretty well, trust me. Alright, so tag team, let's see. Blows strands of his magical hair in a direction, summoning 5 clones of himself to damage enemies and knock them into the air. Damage dealt by clones ignores shields and ignores a portion of the enemy's defense. Guys, this is actually super, super strong, especially in 5v5 PvP. He gets a little bit of a bad rap because he's a free unit and he's a Monkey King, and they don't really like have a whole lot of debuffs. They don't have a whole lot of team buffs, but he's actually quite nice. He's actually quite nice, okay? So I would say, honestly, if you don't have any other farming unit, if you don't have a Blade Master, Sun Wukong could actually be your best farming option out of any other unit in the game. 100%. Build him on, I would say, a vampire set if you're going to do that. Attack, crit damage attack with high crit rates, and say a keen set to go along with it. So attack percent shoulder pads, crit damage gloves, attack percent bracers, okay? Makes perfect sense, right? He's going to do a lot of damage that way. You don't really need to have a whole lot of attack speed on him. Just build him like super powerful so his hits, they hurt, all right? So also he has the leader skill of increases accuracy of all ally fire champions by 40%. You're not really gonna use that very often. It's a horrible synergy trait in my opinion, and I would say disregard it, use somebody else's synergy trait because it only does it for fire champions and it's not really that great, okay? So again, tag team into overhead flip into monkey tricks. It's a really nice 5v5 unit, and you guys should actually look at him a little closer for a farming unit as well. Also, most of the Monkey Kings are actually pretty good in PvP arena as well. And you can use it if you're past the point of needing a farming unit, then you could also put him on like Adept. You could put him on maybe like a Dazzling set as well. Do some stuns in there, give him a little bit more utility with that tag team. And it's actually quite nice. So I would still build him kind of like attack percent, crit damage, maybe HP percent. Instead, make him a little bit more of a tanky bruiser type thing. That's also a really nice way to go, okay? And then let's move on to Huge, which is Huge, maybe, I think his name is. But it's the water one, okay? It's the Water Monkey King. This one I actually thought was a weird sort of setup. His basic ability is the same as the other ones, okay, causing him to deal additional damage and leap to his enemies, which is nice. But the overhead toss, instead of doing the, the decreased armor debuff, it deals damage and removes 1 buff from the target. So 1 buff? Like, that's all you're gonna give us? That's all? No, okay. I think the other one is definitely a better ability than this first skill. So overhead toss with the defense break, much better than this overhead toss with the removes 1 buff. It doesn't really have, like, maybe you could use it in Steel Widow for the removal of the invulnerability, but really, you're not gonna, based on his other skills, you're not gonna be using him in Steel Widow anytime soon, let me tell you, okay? So his second skill, Acrobatic Feint, is a leaps to a location, bounces on his staff, but instead, when he falls, he raises crit instead of raising attack power and damages enemies nearby with his staff. It's the same thing, except he raises crit instead of attack power. Mischievous Clones, though, however, blows a strand of his magical hair in a direction, summoning 5 clones and himself. Basically, it does the same thing, but this skill is guaranteed to crit, and so is the fire one, I believe. Guaranteed. No, this one ignores a portion of the enemy's defense, so you can kind of see where the difference is. I would say the third skill on the fire one is actually a little bit nicer than the third skill on the water one, but the fact that you can gain a crit rate buff and then guaranteed to crit, it's a little bit awkward, right? Like, you're probably... So you're probably going to build this with a ton of crit damage and like completely negate crit rate. I would say that would be a viable way to build it because you're going to gain the crit rate buff anyway from Acrobatic Feint, and then you're not going to need it from Mischievous Clone. So just completely disregard crit rate for the most part, and you should actually be able to do just fine with huge with that type of build. I would say kind of build them the same way. If you wanted to maybe go Adept on him would probably be your best bet, or again, Dazzling. Most of them are all going to be the same build, so I don't need to keep going over that. You guys already understand how to build them, right? If you have any questions, of course, go ahead and post them down below in the comment section, and I will try to get to those. Now, the third one we have is Lao Sun, which is the Nature Monkey King, and he has the same horrible overhead toss, which removes 1 buff. He actually gains the raise attack power on his second skill, and then the third skill is the same as the fire one. So really everything's the same, except he has the worst of the 2 first skills. So I would still say the fire one actually has the nature one beat, because not only can you use it for 5v5 PvP, but it also has the ignore or lowers the defense, which is really nice. And then, so I would say right now it goes fire, nature, water as far as the tier list and which one's better than the others. Now, Do Zhang Shang Fo. This is actually the best out of all of them, and he's actually quite nice and usable if you look at his skills. So he has the better of the 2 first skills, which is the lowest defense. It has the better of the 2, I wouldn't say better of the 2 second skills, because the raised crit rate is kind of nice at the same time, but it has, I would say, one that makes more sense with his third ability, which is a guaranteed crit. So he does raise his attack, and then he's guaranteed to crit, so that way you could just build like super high crit damage and not really have to worry about that either, in almost the same way. But it's kind of nice, okay? It's kind of nice. It does the overhead flip with lowers defense. So I would say this is probably the best one out of all of them. I would still gear it the same exact way as all the other ones as well, but this is like your premier Monkey King out of all of them, in my opinion. Again, useful in mainly like arena offense to kind of jumble them up all together, pop them up in the air, and then also it's really nice on arena defense if you pair it with the right units, such as some healing units and some other CC units. It's actually not bad. All right, next up we have Poho, and this is the Dark Monkey King. This one kind of is just like, I don't know what it's doing, honestly. So it has the remove buff, which is, again, we've already discussed, the worst of the two. It has the raised crit rate, which is kind of, again, it's just weird, okay? It's fine, but it's weird. If you build it with high crit rate anyway, you don't really need that. So if you have really good gear, technically the attack power one is going to increase it on a high, it's going to scale better with better gear is what I'm saying. So acrobatic feint with the raised crit rate isn't going to scale as good as the attack power one would. Now tag team, shields and ignores a portion of the enemy's defense. That's, in my opinion, the better of the two third skills, so it kind of plays a little bit nicer together, but it's just still a little awkward. Has the dark accuracy thing, which again is like not like, why wouldn't you just make that, since it's a nat 5, make it just like for everybody, and an accuracy buff of 40% for everybody, where the Snake Lady, which is a nat 4, gives a 30% accuracy buff for everybody, which it just like it doesn't. Like, I would rather use the Snake Lady buff because I'm not going to use 5 dark units really almost ever. I'm not going to use 5 fire units or anything else. Like, why not just give it the Snake Lady nature trait or synergy trait after it gets awakened, which does increase ally of champions by 30%. So why not just do it for 40% because it's a nat 5, and that would actually maybe make them a little bit more viable and usable in certain situations. But instead, no, they make it just for the element itself, which is kind of like I said, a little awkward. So I would say, as far as how they are ranked up, I would use the light one, and then I'd use the fire one, then I'd probably use the dark one, then the what did I say? The nature one, and then the water one. That's how I would do it. It's, again, they're all kind of on the same level, but I would say the fire one and the light one are definitely a step above the others. And the fire one, again, make sure you guys don't look past it. It's a really nice farmer. I would say it's better than the spearman and better than the scan berserkers once you get it, because one, it's already 5-star, you don't have to waste the materials to make it a 5-star, and then second, it's a 5-star unit, so its base stats are actually better anyway, and you'll have some fun using it. So anyway, guys, aside from that, if this video helped you, please go ahead and subscribe. Also hit that like button because I'll come out with videos like these all the time. And stay soupy as always. Don't be potatoes, and I'll see you guys in the next one for the Ink Ninjas. All right, peace, guys. Later.
I run away.